Welcome back, everybody, to another Tuesday Night Live podcast. The boys are in the building. It is going to be an absolutely massive show, and I am not lying when I say this. I have never seen a more stacked agenda in my life. Like going in depth with a lot of things. There's going to be so many talking points that I know the comments will go off tonight. So please bring your A game, even in the comments. I'm talking to the boys as well. At the end of this, I expect a voice to be lost. We're not. One of us isn't going to work tomorrow. We've got no voice left. But in the comments as well, fire those fingertips up. Let's get ready to go. Very keen to get into things. Obviously, Galvin's hot topic. We're going to talk about the JT Lenu situation as well. Blowing up the bunker. You voted very precisely on and outvoted on one side of it. And there's so many more things. Everything's a fire-up issue tonight. So bring it on. Shout out to the sponsors once again. So Freedom Finance Group. Again, please message Con if you have any financial needs and let him know that League of Inches sent you. He will look after you. Shout out to TC Coolers who helped us with all the cooler giveaways each and every week. I'll give a couple of those away tonight to the best fire-up comments. As well as, and Magic Round is just around the corner, guys. I know the boys are pumped. I am pumped. I cannot wait. I am counting down the hours at the moment. And that's a lot of hours still, but it gets me fired up, ready to sink a few with everyone out there. I will be giving away a couple of double passes tonight as well to that event. So make sure, again, in the comments and the best questions for tonight. I'll pick 2 or 3 winners. I haven't decided how many yet. I'll just see, depending on the questions asked, we'll get the Magic Round tickets to our event. Now, boys, sorry, that was a long one. There was so much. I'm already too pumped, too excited. Trav, how's things, mate? I'll let you start us off. Let us know how things are, and then let us know, because we've got so much to get into. We're almost going to have to go straight into it. Let us know quickly what caught your eye this week.
Yeah, going well. Second week of school holidays, loving it, loving time with my family and not having to muck around and get ready for school and plan and do all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I love that comment by James. I hope Jake's ready to go. He did in the private messages, James, say he was going to go through every club and give one controversial call to everyone. So I'm going to call him out here and
say that?
And pull him in. Yeah. Do you need me to screenshot it and send it to you?
No, I believe you. I just haven't prepared for it. So I might need to give another week on that one.
All right. Well, we'll wait till next week. Although you still need to bring that controversial game. G'day to everybody there. What caught my eye? It's non-NRL related, but it's social media related. Particularly to a couple of comments that happened that I've been watching in the last few days, but something that I've noticed way more since joining this sort of game that I'm now in, that I help out with the League of Inches and that, and the amount of people who feel very strong and very tough as keyboard warriors and keyboard heroes. Just the brutality of people and how tough they think they can be now because they can sit behind a screen in the social media world and say some of the stupid things that they say. Like, have an opinion, but just be bloody respectful. You don't have to be a douchebag, a flog. Like, just it pisses me off people who sit there and write some of the things that they say are quite brutal about it. And yeah, I don't know. I wanted to get really into it, but I'm going to hold back, I think. But yeah, it just pisses me off, people and their social media keyboard heroism. Love you too, Caleb.
You got a fan in the background, Jake. But I think just quickly, Trav, I love what you are saying. I think I know a few of the comments you might be talking about. Covenant a bit at the moment. Obviously, one thing I will say is obviously doing these the quarterly rankings. The rankings are always, in a way, I always dread doing the rankings because I know what I'm going to cop, but at the same time, I know how many people out there love it, and that does generate talking points and things like that. Guys, it is an opinion. That's all I will say. It is an opinion. Have your own, but just be a bit respectful in terms of the way you perhaps sometimes you word things and how you come back. I know, put myself out there, social media, and I get that. Not going to try and just shut that down for sure. Just we are all about, and I know Trav, Jake, everyone, and those guys that have followed us our page for a while now know we are all about discussion. We know we're not always right. We know we're wrong on a lot of things, and we have opinions, and we want everyone's opinion. Just keep it respectful on the page, whether it's on here, whether it's in the street, whether it's us meeting up at Magic Round, whatever it is in the comments. Just be respectful, please. Jake, what caught your eye this week?
What caught my eye? I usually try to keep it to football, but I thought I'd just do something different for once. Katy Perry went to space. I thought that was interesting.
What?
Yeah,
What?
that's true. That's true.
What?
So Katy Perry recently. It was Katy Perry, a journalist, Gayle King. It was organized by Jeff Bezos' fiance. Apparently, they went and did one of those, like, you've seen like the flights where they kind of go up. They were up there for 7 minutes, but she's technically, I don't know if that's considered technically. I believe she's an astronaut, technically. So I thought that was interesting. I don't know.
Are you serious?
Yeah, look it up.
100%, Alan. What channel are you? I promise you, we're as shocked as you.
Yeah, well, you asked for something that caught my eye, and
Hang on.
It threw me.
Stop. Jordan Thompson. Good day, fellas, from Nova
Scotia.
Scotia,
The Red
Canada.
V.
Let's go, the Red V. I think that's the furthest I've seen so far. If you are from somewhere else further than that, let us know. But Jordan, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. Love to know. Oh, you already just said you go for the Dragons. Let us know who you think is Gutho your best player so far, because I rate him very highly so far. I know he's in the top 5 of our League of Inches Player of the Year awards. For mine, quickly, so we can get into it. I know everyone's waiting to hear all of what we've got to say about, obviously, a guy called Lachlan Galvin in that situation. But what caught my eye this week was, I don't know if it's going to be an advantage or a disadvantage, but whenever they end up announcing this Perth team, I just feel like it's going to happen and just playing silly buggers. All the travel that we've seen on the weekend, I think all 4 teams didn't look themselves. It looked like there was a slower team, a slower game for both of them and things like that. I don't know if it was a travel, what it was. I don't know if it's going to be a hindrance or a really big advantage to be that Perth team, because you're going to have to travel every second week, things like that. It could just be a lot. So I'll be very interested if that, once it does happen, once the team gets put there, how they end up going throughout their first initial phase of obviously the season. Because it looked like from going off the games on the weekend there in Perth, it might be a bit of a struggle. So interesting to see there. All right. The man of the hour, I don't know if anyone's heard, but Lachlan Galvin has told the West Tigers that he will not be there any longer post the 2026 season. The moment is the crucial bit of evidence there. Now, we have a few ways of going about this and a few topics we want to cover off. But first of all, I just want to open it up to the boys and get their initial thoughts when they were sitting there yesterday. The news came through. What was going on in their heads? Because from a content point of view, obviously, I was like licking my lips, going, "This is going to be huge for the page and for everyone talking." And I think in the back of our minds, we all thought it might have happened. With the way the West Tigers have started the year, might be a bit shocking, especially the timing. But Trav, I'll let you start this off. Initial thoughts.
Laughable, entertaining, and I just can't get over having a look at Jake here with his arms crossed and he's leaning back. And how big does our boy look? Jeez.
Stop it. I'm blushing.
No, I've lost my train of thought now. I'm looking at you, Jake. I don't blame everyone in the comments. I don't blame them. Nah, laughable, entertaining. I originally said, is it a joke? I kind of thought maybe this is a bit of a joke, and then I sort of went there and thought, I wonder if he's got the same. I wonder if he's got the same media rep or media people as what DCE had, because he pretty much parroted so much of what the what DCE kind of said when he said that. So then I kind of laughed at that, and then I started to feel a little bit of emotion around. I felt sad for the Tigers. I felt sad for the Tigers supporters, so that's sort of been my initial whirlwind of thoughts.
Jake, and first of all, I probably should have told everyone from the start, he obviously isn't where he normally is based, a completely different setup. I believe he is back home at the moment on school holidays and just enjoying a bit of family time, which is great to see. And he's made time to be on here tonight to make sure he's talking all things footy with you guys. So, Keep pestering him. I think he deserves it. Jake, what were your initial thoughts?
First of all, I am back at home, and I'm out at Dad's bar. He wanted me to sort of mention it's called Leo's Ombralia. He loves it, so I just quickly mentioned he's got a name for it. He loves it. There's a little sign up there that says Leo's Ombralia. But so my thoughts. My first thought was, are we?
Can you confirm? Mate, can you confirm if you're in the doghouse?
I'm not in the doghouse. Can confirm.
That's a sick doghouse if it is.
Not, yeah, if this is the doghouse, I'm happy to be.
You're never leaving.
First thoughts on the Galvin situation was, is he going to come to Para? In my brain, that's the first thing that happened to me was, is he going to go to Para? I think that's pretty fair, being we just lost our main half, 5'8". Then my thoughts after that kind of went to, wow, that really does suck for the Tigers. They finally had a bit of they finally had a bit of hope. They finally had a bit going for them, and then that's a bit of a shot in the face. At the same time, I think a lot of people, I could see it coming. I think he's wanted out of there since it was like last year. He wanted out of there since that big incident. I just don't feel like he's ever settled and ever really gone, yep, I want to buy into this and sort of stay here. But yeah, my big thing, I suppose, is I really like what the Tigers have done, like the playing group, to go straight to Benji and just go, we don't want him in the side if he's going to be like this. And I think that's a pretty good call that Benji's made as a coach. Probably the biggest, hardest one he's had to make, and go, sweet. No, we've got to do that. And I think it's pretty fair.
As I said, we've got way too many areas to take this and see where we go with it all. I want to start by probably talking about Galvin and his management and where this has put him, because for mine, as I said, the biggest shock for mine was the timing of this. The Tigers are off to a really good start. I believe they're going to be borderline top 8 team this year. And there's potential this could derail them in a way. But in my opinion, it shows the strength of the playing group. They've already stood up and said, we don't condone any of this. We don't want this around. And I think it could unite the group even more and makes them an even more scary team to verse, in my opinion. But I want to first take this time to have a bit of a crack, because Galvin's obviously still quite a young kid, no doubt about that. And I think he's now, just turned 20, or he still might be 19. I think he's 19 still. Yeah. He's been obviously talking to family and things like that. And if people in his corner have advised him that this is the right way to go about this, I'm just not too sure. Now, technically, I know he's not done anything wrong. Technically, he just said to the Tigers that he won't be there from the end of next year. And in his words, and as his statement said tonight, he feels like he's doing the best thing by the West Tigers by doing this. But I just see past that, because as Jake rightly said, you've pushed to get out of this club now 3 or 4 times in the space of your career being a season and a bit. You are a 19-year-old kid, for crying out loud, that is still learning the game. Yes, you've started on fire. Everyone is not going to deny the fact you are a talented player, but you have a hell of a lot to learn in your playing career. And to be almost making these demands already, and then to be led by people close to you, and then your management, which I'll get to in a second, I think you're going about things the wrong way, and you're going about things in a way that has a real it's got a real quick way of disrupting how you're seen by just the footy general public. And that's a dangerous thing to do from these young kids who, I've got no doubt he would see a lot of the comments that rave about him on a weekly basis and love it. I don't know, is he ready to see what the comments are going to be now? Because going off the last 24 hours, they're not good. And we've seen a lot of young kids in the past. Ash Taylor comes to mind, a freak coming through the grades and got his first shot, was looking good with his early few games, and then got the big pay packet, and then it all went downhill at a rapid rate. He's got to make sure he has some really strong people around him to be able to handle what's about to come at him, because it's not going to be pretty. His management team now, I cannot believe, once again, we're talking about an Isaac Moses player, and once again, we are talking about him controlling and basically acting as if he's bigger than the game. I don't know how the NRL, again, I know on paper they haven't done anything wrong in this situation, but a year and a half, they've told him in advance, like a year and a half just seems way too long. And it just does not sit right with me at all. The fact that we've got a management there trying to dictate to a club once again and pull the strings, there's got to be a way the NRL can start coming down harder on this and just eradicating how much control managers have on the game. Trav, I'll let you have your say about this part of it, Galvin and his management.
So I'm looking at it going, what has he actually done wrong, right? So this is a landscape in the system that the NRL is allowed to happen. And this is where it sits. So at any stage during this season, at any point, a player can do this and can sign sort of anywhere, like other until the June deadline, right? And there's a little bit of play around with all of those sorts of things. But like, he hasn't really done anything particularly wrong in terms of contracts or what he can do or what he can't do, how he signs or where or anything like that. Now, it's still no. Now, can you just correct me or just let me inform me? He's actually not allowed to sign anywhere yet because he's not signing until 2027 until November 1st. Correct? Right. Well, we all know. Let's be honest. We know he signed something. Like it is there, right? And it's just going to be hidden because we know that he's not allowed to do it. He's clearly signed something. He's clearly gone somewhere else. In my opinion, that's what's happened. However, he can't do anything. But what he's done is he's gone out and he said, "Okay, well, I don't want to play for you guys. I'm going to tell you now." Right. So technically, there's absolutely nothing here. Nothing wrong with what he's done in terms of that aspect. And so I don't have a problem with that. I also don't have a problem with technically what the agent has done or his manager or whatever you want to say has done in terms of, pushing it out there and saying, like, we've now got this guy, we're going to come out and market him, blah, 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 blah. And by November 1st, we'll have done all this work and all that sort of stuff. Technically, that's not wrong. What's got me and what's pissing me off about this situation is, it's the way it's gone about it. It's the personal disrespectful comments and conversation that has come about it. It's the fact that I'll be honest, I haven't been a very big Benji Marshall fan. I will admit, and I'll give him kudos and praise where it's due, is that he's been pretty bloody good this year, and that team has turned it on, and he's had the troops with him, and there's a bit of I can talk around now. There's a stamp on what I think Benji Marshall's trying to do and the way the Tigers are playing, whereas last year I couldn't see anything. And I think it's incredibly unfair that he's literally been thrown under the bus by this one player who's played 27 games and is still 19 years old. He turns 20 in July. I think it's incredibly unfair what he has done and how he's attempted to try and derail the team to get out of this contract. I think that's rubbish. And because of that and how that's happened, I actually think he should be held to his contract. I think he should be absolutely held to that contract, and you'll sit there and you better turn up to training and you better play well and you better move forward with this, because if you don't, then we'll start to fine you and we'll be recouping money back. I think that's what should happen, but either way, we're not going to let you out. You're not going to get out. And I think the NRL needs to really, and what I hope this happens out of all of this is that the NRL comes back and says, this whole contract system, this whole transfer period or transfer system or whatever the hell you want to bloody call it needs to absolutely change, because it is a disgrace. It is an absolute joke. It's a laughing stock of every single sport that's out there. I was talking to a friend of mine who's an American, and he just literally laughed at me when I told him how the NRL works. Literally laughed at me and said, this is an absolute appalling system. It's a joke the way that it is set up. And I hope this comes down as the NRL goes, holy crap, this makes us look really bad. Like, we look really bad. And they go, all right, we really need to change this. And I hope that's what this situation does. And I hope that the way this has gone about, I hope Galvin becomes a bit of a scapegoat for this shit, because of the way that he's managed it. And then to go back even further to what you said around, I hope that he's ready for the comments and stuff. Well, if he had half a brain, and if his manager had half a brain, or even just a small amount of brain, and his parents had any inkling of a brain cell, that 3 weeks ago when we watched DCE and the comments and rubbish that happened for DCE, and I'm on the having a go at DCE's level, right? But if he knows that this is exactly, he knows exactly what's going to happen to him. So if the manager and anyone came out and said any of those things, then and didn't tell him that, then they've all got rocks in their heads, because he had an example not 3 weeks ago around what's going to happen to him, and he's done it a hell of a lot worse. DC didn't throw anyone under the bus. DC has kept his mouth shut with everything that's happened. DC hasn't gone out there and said, no, the club did this, even though we know and infer and where all the leaks are and what's happening. He didn't say any of that stuff. Galvin's come out and basically come through and said, no, the coach has got no idea. He's not going to be able to push me any further. The club's not setting me up. The club didn't look after me for my injury last year. Blah 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 blah. So yeah, so that's my stance. I'm actually I'm not pissed about it. I'm just, it's still 24 hours. It's still things that need to come into play, and I need to sort of see where everything goes for it to be able to fit in. I hope some news comes out to support Galvin in terms of what the club's doing, or how Benji's managed him, or that sort of stuff, to kind of justify his thoughts there and that. But yeah, that's sort of where I'm at.
It's a massive cop out. I feel like what they're trying to insinuate in terms of not getting coached at a level to get his game to the next level. Like, it keeps saying he is being in the NRL now for a season and a bit. The only coach he has had is Benji Marshall. The coach has got him to this level that he's currently at, that everyone's talking about. He's already a top 5, if not top 3, 5/8 in the game already, is Benji Marshall. One of the best 5/8s to ever play the game is Benji Marshall. It is an absolute cop-out, and just purely disrespectful and spiteful, clearly, from his manager going down this route. I just do not understand it whatsoever, because you're a 5/8 coming up in the game. This is almost exactly where you want to be. They've just built one of the best spines in the game. You've got it made out for you for seasons to come, and they want to throw this out. It's just an absolute joke. Jake, before I get any more deeper, I'll let you go. I know you wanted to answer a question as well, so let me just quickly and keep those coming in, guys. We'll get to them as we go. From Jess: I really dislike these announcements mid-season and the media circus that follows. Do you think this will have a ripple effect and impact focus at the club? You're on mute once again.
Mute.
Oh.
Sorry. I'm professional. I'll start with the second sentence of this. Do you think this will have a ripple effect and impact focus at the club? Absolutely. It can't not. There's no way that them doing that, and even the fact that the players had to go to the coach and say because he was going to, apparently Benji was going to name him, 100%. Like, if the players have to go and say, we have this entitled brat here that we don't want playing with us, that's disruption straight away. You can't say that that's not disruption there. As for the first part, so the announcement mid-season and the media circus that follows, I think we're all getting very sick of it, and it happens every year. There's a player who's disgruntled, and something leaks that they're, not happy about it. And then there's always, a bit of where there's smoke, there's fire situation, and they end up pushing for a release and they can just go. Like Trav said, the system we currently operate under is a genuine disgrace. In any other sporting culture that you can find in the world, the contract system we have doesn't exist, right? The proposal I would have is to follow the system that's put in place with like soccer, so like Premier League and things like that, where they have a mid-season transfer window and then like an off-season transfer window. So your off-season is exactly how it is now. Any changes and signings that happen can happen as per normal. But you'd have to imagine it wouldn't be the worst idea to have a set, maybe, I don't know, let's say a week, if not less. It could be a day. I don't care. It could just be some amount of time where all transfer talks are legal within that time. And so any changes that happen, the news is quick, hit, and fast, and then it's gone, right? And then you can't talk about it anymore because players cannot move. That's it. Simple as. Done and done. There's no way to get around that. You just have to be where you are for the rest of that season. What do you guys think about that?
I don't mind it. I just think it's going to be hard to enforce because there's already that as technically it's a rule. Like at the moment, Galvin can't talk until November 1, apparently, or he can't get an offer.
Not the mid-season part of it, though. That's not a rule at the moment in the NRL. So, like, having a mid-season transfer window is what I'm talking about. So, if you have a player that's disgruntled within the first, let's say, 12 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever you decide it to be, they're disgruntled. So, you have to wait, bide your time, bite your tongue. You get to that week or whatever, go. If you want to try to get out of your your thing, or if you want to try to then talk to your club and go, I want to go somewhere else, then you can make that happen within that amount of time. Until then, nothing should be happening player movement wise.
Yeah. I think that
allows
might
for an
encourage
opportunity.
players to carry on a bit more than they already are, and managers. They'll
Oh,
you'll
I
take
have-
advantage of that.
You're
I
only
have
going to
the
get this.
same sort of thought, Joel. I think what'll happen is you'll have two sets of big time talks around players wanting to get out and the rigmarole of that as they set up to the mid-season trade period, and then it'll be quiet for a few weeks after that, and then it'll happen again. It'll be two sections of a whole heap of rubbish, and then what you might end up getting is, oh, my team's failing halfway through this year. I'm going to pull up as much crap as I can to get out because I want to go and play for the Storm on a cheap deal so I can win a premiership kind of thing. Like you'll end up getting that crap instead of I see what you're trying to do though. Like I really do. I think you're asking for an ability to have players move much easier. Well, not easier.
Only in the 2 periods. That's it.
In those two
no other movement.
And then literally what you're hoping is that they should then just sit down and shut up until the next period comes, and then that's the end of it. We know that's not going to happen, and it won't work like that. But I mean, even now, like technically they're supposed to sit down and shut up, but we all know that Galvin and his management are sitting there trying to talk to every club out there. And as I've sort of said before, I have this feeling that he's already signed somewhere else and that this is just coming up early. Like, but nothing will come out until the 1st of November because that's technically when they have to do it. I think I really like what you're saying, Jake. I think, and one of the comments was written before, is that I think the NRL needs to just pull a tough line here and say, this is how things need to happen. We don't want this stuff happening, this contract talk and these signs and all that sort of stuff. That just needs to stop. There needs to then be fines and major punishments and all sorts of things to stop that rubbish from happening so that this doesn't happen. Now, these comments of what Galvin's saying will probably come out at one point in the year, but to come out in round 6 is just ludicrous, right? Have it come out on November the 1st, right? Then that's a preseason, it's off season. No one's playing, nothing's happening, right? But don't have it here is the point. I think was what you're trying to stop too, Jake, if I'm sort of inferring what you're meaning, is to stop this crap from happening week 3 for DCE, week 6 for Galvin.
It's always heard about it. It happened to Ben Hunt.
All asking for. Yeah, you're right. Yep.
I think as fans,
Sorry, go, Jake. Go.
Just as fans, it feels like everyone is sick of when we want to be talking about the football that is being played. All we're talking about is who's moving where. That's all that's happening, and I think everyone is getting a little overhearing because, especially when they're from other teams, and that's all you're hearing in the news instead of hearing about your team or whatever it be and how they're playing and what they can do from there. Yeah,
I'll take it another step further, right? Like I'll take it another level. Is as a fan, and particularly, some of the guys in our chat and who really in depth in our comments and our statuses and stuff are season ticket holders, are members, pay a lot of money to buy merchandise, even if they're not members, all sorts of things, right? They go and buy jerseys and all that sort of stuff. Now you're taking it on to now you're taking it even further, right? This is the rubbish that's happening because you're stopping this, right? You're stopping the fans being engaged and loving what's happening because of this crap, Like this could derail the team. So the Tigers are sitting there with the first 6 weeks going, all right, we're winning. We're above 50% or 500 for the first time in forever, right? And now this kind of derails it. As a fan, I'm sitting there going, "Oh man!" Like the last 6 weeks, I've finally found some love for the Tigers. Right? I'm over these wooden spoons. I've gone and bought my jersey. I've gone and done all this, and then this potential. It's a whole nother level. Right? This is not just that part. It's a whole nother level that we need to look at, and the NRL needs to get over themselves with that.
I've got an idea that in my head feels like it might help stop what's going on because, in my opinion, a lot of these players that just want to go early from their contracts are all doing it because they end up getting paid more than what they're currently on. I think 90% do it, if not more, or a higher percentage. So in my opinion, let's use this Galvin one, for instance. If he was to get granted a release and gets to leave, let's say this year for next year, he's currently on by NRL 360 reports tonight, $350K at the Tigers, and will be on that next year as well. The NRL, in my opinion, should enforce Okay, leave. No worries. If you're that unhappy,
Sorry, they're
go.
getting that.
But you're only on 350K. That is the max you can get for next year. Whatever you get after that is if you're off contract, fair play, all good. But you can only be on 350K for next year. And do that for any player. Any player that seeks an early release for whatever reason it is can do so. So that way, like if there is a family reason, no worries at all. That's obviously not money related. So they would be happy to go for whatever money they're currently on. But do not let them go because of a financial risk or a financial reward, because that's just simply that doesn't like it doesn't sit well with me at the moment. That the fact that Galvin can potentially leave next year if they do end up getting released, and he goes from 350K up to let's say 900K at a minimum. I think there'll be clubs out there that probably pay more, crazily enough, but that's just ridiculous. Like, ply your trade, continue to work at yourself. And it also protects a lot of these young kids, because I keep saying it. Like, when we think of some of these players in the past, these young kids who then got the early big contracts and it didn't work for them, it was a real shame to see how their careers just sort of petered out. It didn't end up going and achieving the levels that they did. And I think a lot of that has to do with the money. And then with money comes expectation from fans and the media and things like that. The NRL needs to start stepping in at some point and go, yes, we're like at the moment, we're protecting players from themselves when it comes to HIAs and concussions. That's going to come down the track. Don't worry, guys. There's something to talk about there to fire up for. But we're also got to protect players when it comes to financially and the pressures and things like that. And telling these kids who, at 19 years of age, signing for $1 million contract is ridiculous. That is ludicrous. I'm sorry, but you don't deserve the 1 million contract. I know people will say it's on potential. Work in the contract for, say, years 3, 4, and 5 or something, it gets up to that level. But he shouldn't be on anywhere near that at the moment, in my opinion. He shouldn't be signing anywhere at the moment for that.
Yeah, I'm not with you on that one in terms of that point. I think a player's worth what the player's bought for, and that's where it is. And if a player can sign for that, then they can. I don't think we should restrict that. But I understand the point that you're trying to say. And I think that comes down to, and I think this is something that I reckon as silly as some people might sit there and say, but like I love what the Americans do, right? Is that they force the players to go to college. Okay, so they force them to go and have at least 1 year in college, or in the NFL, they force them to go and at least have 2 years in college. They've got to grow up. They go and start an education. They do that sort of period. The constant conversation in the NRL, and this also happens in the AFL as well, it also happens in the NBL, is that these young guys coming through the system are just juniors. They're babies. They're still figuring all of this out, right? And it just doesn't work. I think that system needs to change. I think something needs to happen with that. I love what Alan Dim said before around there needs to be a draft or stuff like that. That's stuff that I've been talking about a heap that I would love to see in the NRL. Obviously, that would have changed the whole system. It would change the whole game, but that would stop this stuff, right? I think players in the NRL and managers just have too much say. They have way too much say. And I think that the way to change that is, yes, you're worth what you're worth, and sign those deals, get them as much as you can. And I truly understand that, as a professional sports career, and I said this last week, right, is that, on average, it's like only 18 months. Across the board, on average, a professional sportsman is in any sport is 18 months. So the lifespan in sports is not long. So your chance to make money is not long. But as an 18-year-old or a 17-year-old, you're signing to play in the NRL, you've just got out of school, or some people still haven't even finished school. You haven't gone to university. A lot of these guys don't go to uni. They don't do any of that stuff, right? And now you're saying, okay, but in 2 years' time, your career didn't work out. So what are you going to do now? Like we need to change that, and that would stop some of this stuff too.
Jake, I want you to kick us off with the West Tigers side of things now. What are your thoughts around how they handle this, going from yesterday, the statement, social media, the way they worded it perhaps as well? And then that can also lead into the decision today from obviously Benji Marshall, the playing group, and club management to drop Lachlan Galvin for this weekend's game.
I actually hadn't seen the statement yet, but beyond, I'll answer the stuff about the club itself because I hadn't seen the statement yet. I love the fact that the playing group, or the leaders from the playing group, actually, Api Coruscant and Jerome Luai, the leaders from that playing group they've talked to the boys and basically gone up to Benji and said, he's entitled. The playing group doesn't want him to play, and we don't either. We do not want this guy in our side. And I love the fact that Benji has had the balls to go, right, well, you know what? He's probably one of our best players we have on the park right now. But you know what? Who cares? He's absolutely stitched up the club. Doesn't matter, right? Get down in Reggie's. And you know what? I think that they've handled it quickly, efficiently, and I think they've handled it really well. In terms of the statement, like I said, I hadn't read it yet. But from what reports, oh yeah,
I can go. I've read it, and there was parts of it that were a little bit spiteful from the Tigers. And I think if they had their time again when they've calmed down, they may have worded things slightly different for a few little things. But overall, I think it was just from a club and club manager that have become extremely annoyed at this situation, are probably fed up, and wanted to put their fans first and show a united front and show that this club is a lot stronger than it was perhaps even as little as 12 months ago, 18 months ago. Obviously, prior management, things like we don't have to name names, we all know who we're talking about, would never have done this sort of thing. I think Richo has this place doing wonders at the moment. It's definitely on the improve. There is no doubt about that. Blind Freddie can see the way they're playing just in general is a much better team, and their recruitment is much better. They're recruiting good quality players. Again, they've got a spine now that is in probably the top 4 spines in the competition. It's building nicely. I like the way they did it. I like the dropping. I get the whole statement. I love the fact that this whole playing group seems united over it as well. No one else is kicking up stones about this. So I feel for Galvin in this situation, because for mine it ends up just. I know that both parties have said they don't want to look for the release. They're playing that's obviously playing the media treat. It will definitely get to that stage, in my opinion. This won't be able to be this relationship won't be able to continue the way it is. It's actually toxic. But I like the fact that the leadership group went into Benji, said we can't have this. We're building something. He doesn't want to be part of it. See you later. Go play Reggie's. Love it. Trav?
Hey, I've got so much respect here for what Benji did. From what I've heard here is that Benji actually got Galvin this morning or yesterday morning or whenever it was, and put him in front of the group and said, explain your situation. And then apparently the players turned around and went, hang on, and cut it short, and said, no, this is garbage. What are you talking about? And went straight to the coach and said, no, coach, he's got to go. We don't want him. I actually don't mind what Benji has done or what Benji originally did, because at the end of the day, like I said to start off with, there's nothing, like, he hasn't technically done anything wrong. All he has said is that by the end of 2027 or by the end of 2026, that will be the end. I will have chased another club, and on November 1, I will sign with someone else. So, well,
he came out and said Benji's not the right coach.
No. But in terms of the contract and all of that sort of stuff, he hasn't done anything wrong. So therefore, I haven't got a problem with Benji picking him, because at the end of the day, Benji's job is to pick and win games of footy, right? And last year, he didn't win many of them. So he's got to win them, right? So I get what he was doing there. But I love what Benji did when he turned around and said, because Benji could have just gone back and said, no, we need to win games. He's our man. He's going to be here for another 18 months. But he didn't, and he took on board what those players went. And I love that the fact that the players turned around and said, no, we're not having this garbage. He's out. I love that. What that really shows is that there's a big long-term vision, which is what Jess was saying just before around. All it does is that it shows a really big commitment to their long-term vision, and that we are in a cultural shift. We're in a major cultural shift, and we're not going to have this shit. And I love that. I really love what's happened. I have absolutely no problems with what went down. And to be fair, I actually think from here on out now, with everything that's happened, I honestly think, Jake, exactly what you said before, this dude should just stay in the Reggies. He'll have a whole lot of life change for him, because I can tell you now, there'll be massive targets on his head. His eyes will be open, will be made to be really wide open.
100%.
To finish this one, we do have to move on. But Daniel Halston, if you haven't yet, mate, message the page. I hope you go on a Magic Round, because I love this question. I'll give you a double pass to our Magic Round event on the Saturday at the Velveteen Rabbit. Boys, if Galvin signed for your club November 1, how would you feel? So Trav signs with the Storm. How are you feeling?
The Storm wouldn't be stupid enough to do that, and they wouldn't want to deal with Isaac Moses. So we know that's not going to happen. But I just wanted to say that.
At the expense of Munster, I have to say. You wouldn't be able to keep Munster and Galvin. So let's say at the expense of Munster for the Storm, surely.
Oh, it's just a hypothetical.
It's just a hypothetical. Yeah. So I'm not even going to go down there. I just wanted to throw in that comment. But at the end of if the Storm were to sign Lachlan Galvin, I personally, I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't have a problem with it because I know the systems in place at the Storm would be able to manage that rubbish. So for me, the Storm's probably not a great situation for that, for what the purpose of this question is and what he's trying to chase as an answer. You boys as Para fans, I think would be interesting to hear, although he's looking likely to be going there. So it'd be interesting to see what you say. But yeah, I wouldn't mind it because I think on talent alone, he's a gun. Like seriously, he can play. There's no doubt about that. And I think our system and our leadership and our management can manage him better.
Jake, how would you feel?
Oh, look, our club, the Parramatta Eels, we need a 5/8, and if we could get him November 1 for 900K or less,
you're not getting him for that.
Well, there you go. But so that depends. That's the question was, how happy would you be? That'll depend on how much we get him for. So if we sign him, I'm happy with his talent. You're right. He's an incredible player. I fully agree with that. But if we're signing him for $1 million or more, I'm not happy with that signing. I think he is not worth that much money, and we'd be fools to pay him that much. Simple as.
I spoke about this on our Para podcast, which will be out tomorrow, Para fans, at midday. Make sure, again, check the podcast side of things or YouTube, wherever you watch or listen to our podcast. It will be there. But originally, I was very excited by the prospect of Galvin and Moses together in the halves. Do not get me wrong. I think that straight away elevates itself to right up there in terms of halves pairing in the competition and a pretty bright future as well. The longer it goes on, the more that comes out, whether that's Tigers perhaps pushing things. Like I've even heard the last 24 hours, the fact that Galvin isn't the best trainer, hasn't got the best mind frame when it comes to doing extras, things like that. Basically just doesn't do them, doesn't like to be part of things, whether that's because he just hates the Tigers. That's very clear now that he doesn't want to be there. That could be part of it. Not too sure. The longer it goes, the more I think about it, the more I'm just like, I don't know if I want the headache. This is the funny thing with Para fans at the moment. They're raving about this, going, "Oh, Lockie, come on home," blah, blah, blah. 12 months ago, you were whinging about Isaac Moses and you wanted him to have nothing to do with the club again. Like, can you guys make your minds up? Like, this is what pisses me off with Para fans. They are all over the shop. 1 minute you hate Isaac Moses, you want every Isaac Moses player out of the club. The next minute, oh, wait, because it's Lachlan Galvin and he's a Para fan when he was a kid and he looks like a good player. Yeah, let's get him for $1 million. It's all good. Like, there's more of me more and more now that just doesn't want the drama. He has been in the game again for 18 months and already over 3 times he's had issues with his contract and going to the media, things like that. That's how he deals with things. I just don't want the club to have that around them anymore. But that's it. That's it for Galvin for now. We'll go back to it in question time if we need to, but so much more to unpack. I'm telling you guys, this show is ridiculous. Next up, obviously, Friday night is we obviously more came out Saturday morning, everything that happened. So JT versus Spencer Leniu. Now, to quickly wrap things up and how it sort of has panned out from everything I've heard. So originally, obviously, Leniu, what happened in Vegas last year with Ezra Mann, the racist comments, things like that, got suspended. JT came out in a podcast, I think live on the air originally, and said he wasn't happy with the actual time frame of the suspension. And then later on in a podcast that ended up for some reason being recorded at a certain time, but didn't get released until like 5 months later, which is just weird in itself and stupid. That like if that was me running that, I would have just cut that part of the podcast out because I just thought that's just a stupid time to have that coming up in finals time anyway. Thurston doubled down. Thurston was then very quiet around the Ezra Mann situation that we've seen at the end of the year, which none of us were very quiet on. We all had our say, and rightly so. We're not happy with the suspension. Still doesn't sit right with me that we'll see Ezra Mann play in the NRL at some point this year. Not at all. And then obviously on Friday night, Spencer then said a few comments to JT in passing, I believe, during the game when he's on the sideline. may have just said an F off type thing or something around that sort of mark. And then it sort of JT went up to clarify some things at full time. It went into the sheds, went again with Robinson and stuff involved, again, trying to sort of, I don't know, be the middleman in the situation, calm things down. What do we think, boys? Jake, I'll let you go crack this one open first. It was a soap opera. It was like I was watching Days of Our Lives. It was, but at the same time, us league fans, we love this stuff. Like everyone would try and deny it and go, I don't see it. But going off the clicks and stuff and put the post up, and again, it went off. Everyone loves it.
The only thing better would have been if there was a biff on. No, I'm joking.
Oh, bit left, right. Good night.
Left, right.
What I do to you at Magic Round?
Yeah, right. I will see. Maybe no, that's right. Yeah, it's an interesting one because I think obviously Spencer knows how to hold a grudge because that was round 1 last year. And I understand that he got suspended for a long time for that, and it may be really. I'll sorry, just to Samantha. I'll have to make sure I'm controversial in this one because I'll get in trouble for not being controversial enough. I'll even by the end of what I'm about to say, I'll make a call on who I think's right. How about that? I'll have just straight up who's right and who's wrong. But until then, obviously Spencer knows how to hold a grudge. Round 1 last year, he got suspended for 8 weeks. I fully understand his point too. Like I get the idea of JT's come over and try to be all friendly and get that interview, and then he's kind of gone, mate. Friend of mine, don't come and just don't just come and talk to me like we're mates because we're not. You didn't, you basically had to go at me and then didn't turn around. I understand as well why Jonathan Thurston wasn't able to speak or wasn't as highly spoken about the Ezra Mam thing because there's legal components involved and things like that where he might not have been able to sort of talk about it. Sorry, James, just to quickly, he's also just put up, who started me being controversial. I know that it was just a comment that was on the side there. All right, I understand you want me to be controversial. In this regard, I'm going to say I feel like Spencer Leniu is not in the right here. I think that Jonathan Thurston has a job. He was coming over to do a job. He was coming over to give an interview. And you can decline an interview politely. You can say straight up, right, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do the interview with you. Go away, whatever it be. The thing apparently is that JT's come in a few times. But I'm going to say that I think that JT, in a sense, is in the right. Because I don't think that there's any reason why Spencer Leniu needed to speak that way about him. Just go away, mate. I don't want to talk to you. Done and done. Move it on. It didn't have to go to where it got to. And I might be missing some details then, and I could be wrong on that, but I'll say my shout is that JT's in the right.
Ooh, okay. Trav?
I don't really have too many problems with this at all. Like JT had an opinion around what happened about the racist comments. JT's an ambassador being an Indigenous fellow. And he made those comments and came out about that and was very strong with that. And I love that he did that. Not that I think that the suspension was warranted for what happened to Leniu at that point for 8 weeks. I think that was far-fetched, but it is what it is. That's what it was. Let's not dwell in the past. I think the issue that the community or our community has is that JT then went very quiet, as what Joel's just alluded to before, around what happened when Ezra Mam went and did the further role and effective incidents and stuff, and he became pretty quiet about that. I have no problems with JT as a media person going up to Leniu and saying, let's do some questions and things. I think he's got some serious balls to do that in the first place, which I think shows a lot of arrogance because he knows how Leniu's behaving and what Leniu thinks of him. And I think that shows some pretty serious arrogance and balls to do that. And I have no problems that he's gone and done that. I also have no problems that Leniu's turned around and told him to F off. Literally have no problems with that. Like he's allowed to do that in terms of where we're sitting there. And I think that's just a heated bloke who's gone, no, I don't like what you said and how you went about it and what you've done. And I'm pulling you out. I mean, this is a big front rower, man. He's made and built to carry a ball into a wall of big, fully grown men and beat people up. Like that's what's in his head, right? That's what he does. It's as simple as that. So I don't have any I don't really have too many problems with what's happened here. What I think should have happened is it should have been out of the spotlight. As it was as simple as that. It should have just been out of the spotlight. So I think JT needed to probably, for a lack of better terms, pull his head in here and hold a bit of pride and a bit of patience, and not go and talk to him and do that sort of stuff. And I think Lenu should have probably, I have no problems with Lenu doing that, but I think what should have happened in the roll-on effect is then, instead of the big chat after the game where we know that the comments are around, we know that the cameras are around, we know that all the media are there, it should have just, that's it, end it, and wait until outside. Go and make a phone call, go and sit at the pub, go catch up at a cafe, whatever, and do it there instead of in the media. I think that's the only problem that I've got. Actually, from what I've heard and seen, I think the NRL don't have any problems with this, other than the fact that it was a bit too public.
Yeah, no, I understand sort of a bit sort of where both sort of parties are coming out. I think Spencer's a very fiery character. Gus said it on 100% Footy last night. He goes, he was there, but he wasn't told about anything that happened until afterwards. And he goes, he wish he would have known, because he would have told JT, do not go back to Spencer. He said he knows Spencer very well. I know what he's like. Wait, let it cool off. Do not do it tonight after the game, anything like that, like what happened. Leave him. Don't go near him. We'll talk about it. I'll go on mediate or whatever needs to happen, and we'll deal with it at another time that's more appropriate. I guess what you both alluded to, and a few comments as well. I can understand what Spencer's pissed off at here, and it does make sense, I guess, in his mind. Everyone has probably remembered times where they've been fired up about certain somebody or something, and just little things have ticked him off. He's going at it with the view of, and the thing is, there's a couple of comments about it. Spencer's not annoyed at the fact that he copped it about his racism remark. He's already said before, he knows he shouldn't have said it. He wore his punishment. He copped it. He was happy to move on in a way. I know he probably won't move. There'll be always people that remember it, and he'll always cop it for it moving forward, and probably rightly so, if that's those words going to come out of your mouth. He was more annoyed at the fact that Thurston was so vocal about it and then did not say anything about what happened with Ezra Mam. And JT is such a respected figure in the Indigenous space, and to not just football players, but Indigenous people in general. And to be so quiet about that, whether he had a platform going at that time or not, probably to Spencer annoyed him. And there's part of me that can understand, like, being Spencer's a fiery character, can probably understand a bit where he's coming from. He copped it galore, and in his mind, he's probably thinking, well, nearly killing a little girl is a lot worse than what I said, which he says, and Roosters players say, was they were copying stuff as well during that game and just didn't say anything. So I can understand in a way where Spencer's sort of come from it, and he just basically doesn't want to deal with JT. He does lost all respect for him and doesn't want to deal with him. And that we've all got people in our lives, I guess, that everyone can sit here thinking right now, there's those couple of people you go, I literally just don't want to deal with them anymore in my life. And if you see him in a shopping center, you walk the other way. If you're in a bar, you're talking, they walk in, you walk out the other door, you're like, I'm done. I'm not going to deal with this tonight. Like, it happens. And I just felt that's the sort. And unfortunately, it was done around cameras. Luckily, there was no fisticuffs, even though Jake wanted to see it. And who knows, they might say round 2's Magic Round. Maybe boys come to the Magic Round event at the Velveteen Rabbit. We'll be there. We'll mediate a few things, and we'll have a chat. Get it on camera, and we'll sort it all out. Moving on, soap opera is done. Honestly, I'm going to lose my voice tonight. The blow up the bunker reaction. Now, me and Jake spoke about this on the Sunday Review podcast. Hope everyone listened to it, enjoyed it. Thanks again for everyone who is watching, liking, commenting, all that sort of jazz. Put it up, the video last night on Instagram. Put a vote out to the Instagram world. Been getting huge numbers on that at the moment. So again, thank you to everyone. Please follow the Instagram if you haven't already. 93% of votes said yes to blowing up the bunker. That means only 7% at the moment says no. And I think this is alarming. And obviously this was in relation to the Jack White and try-saving tackle, that how somehow the person in the bunker deemed it to be a hip drop. How? Absolutely no idea in the world. Like, this is supposed to be a guy that's high up in the game, has complete control of a game, and he makes that sort of a call, which was completely wrong, is absolute bullshit. That was not a hip drop by the slightest. And the fact that this vote's come back, and I love our community. I think our community has a great deal of rugby league knowledge. The fact that this is at 93%, that is a huge concern, Trav.
Yeah, I mean, our community is parroting what pretty much every NRL fan is parroting, I reckon, and saying we need a serious change. I'm very much against the bunker being scrapped. I don't think the bunker should be scrapped, but I do agree that the bunker needs to be blown up in terms of the rules and what they're allowed to adjudicate for. Unfortunately, the game stopped. It's too slow. I'm sick of sorry, lost the train of thought. I'm sick of the delayed penalties. I'm sick of the delayed reports. That's what I was trying to get at. I just think that's rubbish. I think the bunker needs to be in for scoring opportunities or for major mess ups. Okay, so there was a major mess up or something like that in terms of a hit or we missed the step out of bounds or whatever, then the bunker should step in. But I don't think the bunker should be pulling in all the things that they have, and I think the rules need to change enormously. I said, you and I both, Joel, said 2 weeks ago, I reckon, that the people in the bunker need to change. Who was actually in there needs to change. So there's got to, yeah. So my opinion is that I really want the bunker. I think the bunker has a place. It has to have a place because there would be way too much. There'd be way too many mistakes happening that we would all be sitting there going, I can't believe we have technology these days and we're missing these things, like, and why we're not doing this. Like that needs to be there. We just need to have things being made better and decisions need to be made better. And there needs to be limit on what they're allowed to adjudicate.
Trav, you are getting massive raps tonight. Everyone's voting you as an early man of the match. Definite.
I get it.
You are the 3.
I get it.
You are the 2. You are the 1.
I get
it. If you want to talk over me, I can deduct a few points off you as well. Smart ass. Jake, what are your thoughts? 93% to blow up the bunker. Woof.
Yeah. I'm actually on Trav's side here, to be honest with you. In terms of the community, and I understand where everyone's coming from with how we should blow it up, because basically it's always wrong. I mean, I'm on Trav's side in the sense that I do think that the bunker has a place. It just needs to be done normally better. Like it doesn't feel like it should be that hard. It really doesn't. And a lot of us look at it and go, there's referees in there. They get paid to do this. And I know I made. What's that? Sorry.
Yeah, but the refs are making major mistakes too.
Well, so this is kind of my point, and I made this on Sundays. I actually believe there should be not referees, but special, just purely bunker analysts who that's their job, and they do this. The same people in there every single time. They're always the same people that do the bunker review and whatever. I think there should be specialist people just in there to do that, to have their own way, and that way, at least the bunker should be consistent. There should be almost no difference game to game with the bunker if the same people are doing it, right? That's my thoughts on that. Yeah, I don't think it needs to be blown up because I think the technology is there for it to be right, and I think having all the cameras in the way that it is, I think that having all the cameras in and being able to do everything that we do with the technology we have is great. It just feels like they're just making calls wrong, and I just don't understand that. It just has to be common sense. Exactly what James said. It just has to be common sense. Yeah, if there's a grey area and it's a 50-50, well, you go from there. Half the time it's not that. It's that they're getting a 90-10 call on the 10 side of things, and that's just what's going wrong. We just have to figure that out. I don't think we should blow up it, though. I don't think we should blow it up, though. Yeah, and I saw that from Alan. That was a good call.
That's one of the best, Alan. You message the page. You're getting yourself a cooler for that comment. So well done, brother. You are in for that. Jake's my man of the match. He has to explain to the missus why he's been in the shed for an hour. Oh, goodness me. And you know what? You are right, Dave. Touch judges should be cheerleaders. They would do a much better job. I don't know what they're doing. But even the white one, for instance, the ref was right there and didn't make a comment. Like he didn't blow the whistle, didn't say, and I think that should have been enough. It didn't need the bunker to come over the top and go, nah, that's a hip drop penalty. And it was a match deciding penalty as well, because Cowboys went on and scored the next set when the Rabbitohs were coming in with a wet sail home and going downhill, and they had basically everything ready to basically attack and potentially, in my opinion, probably win the game. They had everything going for them at the time, the Bunnies, and they got up after that play. So Shake your head all you want, Trey. You got no
No,
idea.
no,
You
no,
got
no,
rocks in
no.
your head.
Hang on a second. I'm about to agree with you, you fool.
Oh, thanks, mate. Thank you. You don't have rocks in your head
Jesus
anymore.
Christ. No,
There's a
like
brain in
so
there
the
somewhere.
penalty comes in, and in that sin binning, there's two tries, right? So off the delayed, it completely changed the momentum. Completely changed it. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace that that's even happened. We would probably be talking a little bit differently if it was the right call. Right? If it was the right call, this would probably change the way we would come about things. But because it was such a glaringly wrong call, and then the way that it changed the game, this is a whole conversation that needs to happen. I'm over the bunker. I'm over the refereeing. The problem with it is that the bunker is trying to, and what I'm sort of starting to see is that the bunker is trying to overcompensate for the ridiculous refereeing that we're getting. And the rubbish that they're missing, and so there's a disparity. There's a disconnect between the two of them, and I hate that. And I don't think the bunker should be doing that at all. And I think the referees need to pick up their game too. But that's a whole nother story.
Guys, the birthday hasn't happened yet. It's this Sunday. I share it with Easter. Don't forget about me and just eat your Easter eggs on the day. Thank you. Thanks for making that public, Dad. Thank you. As you get older, it's probably the less you want birthdays to be known. But here we are.
Especially especially on Facebook, on a podcast.
Oh no, I don't want Trav and Jake to sing. Have you heard their voices? I do not want that to happen at the moment. So we'll wait till the end of the podcast. I might be able to sing a song.
Jake has a voice of an angel.
We'll see after a couple at the Caxton after the Friday or Saturday night where he rips into it. We'll have some karaoke sessions. Next up, Sam. Shout out to Sam. She messaged the page or group and let us know. Made us aware of this one. Jesse Arthurs has now been cleared to play. They've overcome the Cat 1, I think, originally. It's now a Cat 2. You've all seen the footage. If not, you've all seen the footage via NRL Physio, who put it up this morning as well. Honestly, if we're in a world at the moment where the NRL is protecting players and being so big on this, HIAs, concussion protocols, and the like, that was one of the worst ones I've seen all year. That, for mine, was an absolute no-brainer. Cat 1, 11-day stand down. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Get yourself better. Look after yourself. To override this, to now be what's the priority here for the NRL? Are we wanting to protect players, or we're just deciding we'll do it whenever it suits us? Trav, I could not believe what I thought it was a joke of injury. I thought she was taking the piss, to be honest. And then I looked at it and seen everything and looked it up, and it was true. I thought, you are kidding yourself.
To be fair, I like what you said. A lot of the stuff that Samantha posts in that group, I sort of look past because it is rubbish. And then she messages me later on and says, "Hang on, Trav, no. I actually looked at that post myself, and I did actually scroll through it thinking, oh, it's just a joke. Like, this is ridiculous. And so I thought, nah, she's just mucking around here. And then I went on Facebook and just caught it out and went, holy crap, this is serious. Like, this is ridiculous. I can't believe it. Like, he was stumbling, so here, I'll put it in comparison, right? Nathan Cleary was given a Cat 1 immediately. Pretty much as soon as he went off the ground, everyone was calling a Cat 1. Nathan Cleary got up, literally pretty much, once he got up, and he just happily started joking. He was walking around. He didn't stumble or do anything like that. And no one argued or anything like that. But now Jesse Arthurs is coming through with what he had done, and they've got it, and it's all been overturned. This is a disgrace. I'm a real big advocate for concussion. I'm a really big advocate for the HIAs. I think head knocks is not something we should play around with. I think I've watched the movies. I've seen the stats. I've been heavily involved in some, I'm a sports person in terms of what I watch and how I live and breathe sports. It pisses my family off, but that's what happens in our house because this is what I like. And I'm a big advocate for concussions and think we actually need to have a harder standpoint. And all this does is, for all the awesome gains that the NRL have done, I feel like this moment has made a massive backward step. Sorry, but that's how I feel, because all this has done now is open the can. So what will happen now for every single one of these, there'll be a can of open, and every club will go straight to the NRL and say, here's my lawyers to say, and here's my doctors to say this should have actually only been a Cat 2, blah, 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 blah. And this is a joke. This is taken a massive backward step. And I'm really disappointed by this. Jake,
talk to us.
Well, being a PE teacher, I literally teach my kids about the dangers of these types of things and things along those lines. You know, we have really big, deep, in-depth conversations, and a lot of the time, some of the things that we've sort of talked about is things along the lines of, you know, are the protocols and stuff that they do pretty good in the NRL. We've talked about the NRL a fair bit because a lot of the kids are really into it, and a lot of the time we go, the HIA concussions are good. The HIA protocols are good. People coming off that 11-day stand-down period is really good, making sure that, you know, your brain's fully settled and recovered before you then take the field again and things like that, like how important it is. And honestly, the NRL has just made themselves, myself, and anyone who actually understands how concussions work look foolish.
It's true.
They've made them look absolutely foolish. And I think that you're right in the sense that we've gone, hey, the priority for the players and the reason we're doing all this head high tackling and send-offs and stuff like that is to protect the players from head injuries. We've got to make sure that everyone's head is protected. And I fully am for that message. That message is, tick, right? That's what we should be doing. And you're right, Trav, in the sense that, hey, we've taken a backward step in. And you're right in the sense that they've also opened a can of worms. And, hey, he might have been showing concussion symptoms, but he's been cleared by our guys. Can he just come back this week? Who's to say that they're not? And anyone can do that. There's no reason now why anyone can't do that because they have precedent. If the NRL had just gone, no, 11-day standout, just like anyone else, stood down, go the whole way. Samantha just said, what's the point of having the rules? There is none. It feels like the NRL is like the wild, wild west at this point. It's just lawless and things just happen. And no one even understands why things are happening. And it just doesn't make sense. It's an embarrassment that they're letting him play. It's an embarrassment to the game, and shame on them, to be honest.
Shannon, I think you're spot on. If you haven't yet, please message the page. I will give you a double pass to Magic Round event as well. Make sure if you are winning prizes, guys, please message the page. I've been finding the last few Wednesdays when we've given prizes away, most of you haven't been messaging the page. You need to message the page afterwards, obviously. Don't have to go off now and miss the show to get your prizes. And just remind us what it is that you do win, but please message the page. Only about, honestly, less than 50% have been messaging the page at the moment. I want to give this stuff away. I want to give you the prizes. I want to do all that sort of stuff. So make sure you do. Last one before we get into the one that you guys are all waiting for. Our League of Interest draft has been huge. I know you're all waiting for the hookers to be chosen tonight. We spoke about it, Jake, me and Jake on Sunday night. Fired up a little bit about the Newcastle Knights and their attacking issues and just what's happening at the moment. Now, hang on a sec. Alan, you haven't really said. Let me have a look into that, Alan. I'll see what's going on there. I sent out everything the last couple of weeks, so I'll double check to make sure. Maybe I'll blame Postman Pat. Postman Pat gets the blame for that one. I want to peel the curtain back at the moment. Before we started Sunday night, me and Jake got this almost abusive message, I would say, by a certain someone on this podcast. I'm not going to name names, but very fired up. I'm not even going to say if it was a he or she. Very fired up to talk about the Knights and just how bad they look and how things are and just a huge can of worms that they wanted to unfold. And I don't think me and Jake did it justice. We tried, but it doesn't come natural. Like it wasn't people want me to fire up. I can only fire up when it's like I feel it. It's a natural fire up. So I want to throw to Trav, and I just wanted you to start to talk to us about this feeling that you have at the moment around the Newcastle Knights and just explain to us what it is you're seeing or not seeing that's getting you to just send abusive messages.
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't send you abusive text messages. There was no abuse, no abuse directed at you guys. I actually asked you in a nice civil way to where it was heated straight after the game to give Newcastle Knights a spray for the rubbish that they put up on Sunday. That's what I asked. It was no abuse.
Go on, you can take it.
Yeah, I've lost the heat now. It's about 2 days too late now, and I'm sick. But at the end of the day,
rev it up, Trav. Rev it up.
What I saw on Sunday was an absolute joke. That game by them was a disgrace. I'm watching. I've called very, very, very clearly said that I think Ponga is the most skillful player in the competition. I rate Ponga so very highly. To me, he's the best fullback in the competition skill wise. And to me, he's the number one player in this comp, and in terms of what I think he can do. I mean, Cleary's amazing, and obviously, I think he's the best player right now. But I think Ponga should be and can be. And what I've seen so far this year, other than game one, I think Ponga's just been a disgrace. I think he's been a joke, and I actually don't think it's on him. I think it's on his coach. I think it's on the game style. I think it's on the way they're playing. And their statistics show that, right? So in the agenda, you wanted to talk about the offense of what the Knights have put up. And it's been very well publicized over the last couple of days that the Knights are the worst offensive team in the comp. They've scored 46 points overall. That's less than Para. And Para have been drubbed twice this year. To me, this is just... this safety play that Adam O'Brien's trying to do. Adam O'Brien is trying to coach this team to save his career. He's not actually coaching this team to win games. He's literally just coaching this team to save his career. And at the end of the day, his career's gone. Something needs to change massively because this is a joke. Yeah, I just watched that. I think there's just so much wrong. Okay, and you can't tell me that it's because Adam Elliott's not playing. Well, he actually didn't get picked. There's a couple of times where he hasn't even been picked this year. So it's not about his injury. Lucas is an injury. Yep, 100%. I wouldn't say Hetherington's a huge loss for him. I think Saifidi is a loss. Yeah, I get that. But that's two. But every bloody club's got injuries. Some clubs have got way worse. Like Para's got a heap of injuries. Right. And they won a game last week against the Dragons. Okay. Yes, they went and got flogged by the Raiders, but they've got injuries. They're still turning up here and there and in parts. I haven't seen the Knights turn up once.
I wouldn't use us as the example, Trav. I can't.
No. But what I was saying is that Para are actually turning up at points, right? There are bits and pieces that the Knights haven't. Other than game one, the Knights have not turned up. And the fact is that they can have. Have they had 2 games? No, they've had 1 shutout, haven't they? And they almost got shut out on the weekend, other than the late Fletcher Sharp try in the last minute. So basically, that's a shutout. I watched the positional picks. I can't fathom what Adam O'Brien is doing and where he is playing players. I have no idea their game plan. It's just so safe and poor. And he's got dudes that can actually make plays. Put the ball in Ponga's hands. I've watched copious amounts of replays of that game, as well as I've seen heaps of the media and stuff talk about moments in time. Like I think it was 3 minutes to go in the first half, in an attacking play, and Ponga doesn't touch the ball once in that set. Like, the other side of it too is I'm so sick of seeing, Ponga be the first carrier in the set. Like, why is your superstar, fullback being the first carrier in a set? Where are your forwards? Where are they? Like, what are they doing? That makes no sense to me. That seems to me like that's a game plan because it happens over and over again. I don't want to dwell too much on the past, but we've spoken to the nth degree around his picking of the spine and how many times it changed last year and where all that sort of went. And I can't see an improvement in this Knights team unless some serious changes happen. I'm not even a Knights fan. I'm not. I'm really not. But I just can't see any improvement with this. And I think it's a joke. And I actually think what they're doing is a joke for what they've got on the park. And if you look at that list, Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And I put this solely and only now to this point of that it's on the coach.
Can I
Time
throw
to go,
something at
Adam
you?
O'Brien. Go.
It is time to go, Adam O'Brien. I just want to throw something at you, Trav. Other than last game when you were saying that Ponga wasn't getting the ball enough, can I be honest? I feel like in games he's getting it too much. I think he's being relied on as the sole provider of any form of attack in that team most of the time.
I think I see your point. I don't think the last 3 weeks he's touched it anywhere near as much in damaging positions as what he should be. And it's because he's touching it in the wrong times. And it's because he's in those bits. To combat that, I see what you're saying. I 100% agree with you. I just think it's in the wrong times and what's happening with a dude like him. Why is your fullback the first carrier? Like, I don't get it.
I'm with you on that for sure. Like, I'm trying to say I agree in that sense of things. Like, you're right that he does not touch it at the right times. He's in the middle of the field getting, touching it 2 or 3 times in a set. What are your halves for? Why do you have but I mean, like, halves to give it to the forwards. He shouldn't need to touch the ball there. He shouldn't need to go. He should be what he should be doing in those parts of the field is being that second man support player ready for the ball if their forward is willing to offload or whatever and be ready to go from there. It shouldn't be him trying to force the attack in the middle, and I'm fully with you on that.
The halves merry-go-round started again. He's back. He's on to gamble now this week. So what's that?
They've got about 8 of them. So
3 different halves so far in 6 weeks of football, which we all were critical of last year. It's probably also time to suggest this Fletcher Sharp experiment might not be working as well as we initially thought it might have done so after the first couple of weeks. He's almost become non-existent in a way, maybe because Ponga's trying to do everything, as you sort of alluded to. But there is definitely concerns there. We spoke at length, Jake, so I don't want to go back into it because we both said it on the Sunday night. It was more to let Trav out and let him steam out of what was in his pores and just needed to let it go, which he eventually did. He tried to tell us just then he had nothing to say. He ended up going well. So he obviously still had a few things to let out, which I really like the fact that we let him do that. So, but I would be very shocked if Adam O'Brien is there any longer than halfway through the year. And I'll say it again, guys, in case there is anyone on here that was trying to say this. Brad Arthur will be the next coach of Newcastle Knights is my prediction. And I don't care if they're best mates. I do not care. The Knights don't care. Management don't care. Look, if they're such good mates, which they obviously are, he just dropped Brad Arthur's son once again, Matt Arthur, who actually was okay on the weekend. I thought it was Newcastle was one of their better players. So things happen. It's a game. There's tough decisions to be made, whether they're best mates or not. If there's an NRL coaching job available, Brad Arthur will come back to Australia for it. No shadow of a doubt. He will be back with family, things like that. So I predict him to be the next one to be coaching the Newcastle Knights. Let's get into it. Our teams, our draft League of Inches teams. This has been a hit. Very keen to get into this. We're doing the hookers tonight. Everyone loves a cheap hooker is the little running joke that we have here. Normally for a Supercoach podcast, though, but it does equate to things tonight. Go quickly. So are we back to you, Jake, to have the first pick?
Sure are, and I'm ready.
So for Jake's team, the Condobolin Rams. Let's quickly go over. He's got Edwards for $850K, Jack Howarth for $500K, Will Penasini $600, and Nathan Cleary $1.75 million. That means he currently, and I've actually got it here. Let me just quickly bring it up. Live TV. It's fantastic. Well, not TV, but whatever are on these days. I do have it here. Where is it? I did that many posts last night. I didn't stop. 7.85 million left in the kitty. Mate, you still got a hell of a lot of spots to fill. You got 26.
I have. I've actually spent a lot of time. I've done a Trav here, and I've actually gone through and I've filled every spot on my team for the amount of money I want them for. And at the moment, if I get everyone for the price I want them for, I've got $635K to play with. So I have auction money if I need it. I am ready to rumble.
You do have the least amount out of all of us so far, but it's only by a couple of 100,000. So
not after this week, I won't.
Who are you signing for your hooker and how much?
I am investing in youth. I'm investing in a young player this time around. Somebody who I believe has been a shining light in a poor team. Riley Smith. I want you in my side. He's played 5 NRL games. Don't care. Want him in my team. I'm that impressed. I want him in my side.
Okay, how much?
200K. He's on minimum wage at the moment. I think 120. So I want him for 200.
Yeah, I'm happy to give you that. I think it's a bit of a ballsy move. I'm happy to give you that for 200. Trav?
I just think that's yuck.
Yeah, it's yuck.
You can think what you want.
I can't believe when there's only 3 teams being made, right? And for the content wise for this and the engagement into our audience, you come up with freaking Riley Smith.
Hold on. You're talking about engagement. You're talking about engagement. You are talking about engagement. I am talking about a team that I believe will work, right? First of all, Chris, from what I've seen so far, crisp service. He's got energy, right? He's full of energy. He hasn't played 80 minutes yet. He could absolutely play 80 minutes. The guy's fit as, right? And the guy can defend. He's got defend. He's like a mini Reed Marnie at the moment. He will do the job.
We have the team logos coming, Sam, for the next post we do.
The other thing I'm going to say is, right, when you've got 2 halves, and I know I've only got one of them so far. One of them is Nathan Cleary. Right, when you've got,
I just have to I had to take a breath, and I'm like, did he really do?
You
that?
can try, right? But
really
here's my thing: the rest of my spine will do most of the work. All I need from Riley Smith is crisp service and good defense. That's all I need from him, and I'd rather save some money here and put money into somewhere else in my team.
Can't believe that's 2.5 minutes. Can we move on?
Yeah,
I will pre-warn everyone with this as well. Like, obviously, we would love to make stack teams. But we are trying to fit this under the cap. We are doing this for a reason because there is new teams on the horizon. We are trying to show how either hard or easy it is to build these teams up. So there is times where, like Jake has done tonight, and I tried to do last week with my centers, you do have to sometimes go that younger guy or build in and get that cheaper signing. So, yeah, Jake would would love to sign a Grant or someone, but it just doesn't work with his team or balance salary cap wise. So there could be method to his madness for sure. And I just want to make sure everyone does understand this isn't just a all-star pick whatever. Like, for sure, for me, I would have liked probably some better centers last week, but I'm actually really happy with them now going off the weekend's form. Trav. So Trav is the Christchurch Dodgers. Ponga,
Sam,
1 point.
There is logos. Has Joel
just
kind of call you out? Have you actually done it this time? And where is it?
Well, I haven't got the post ready yet, but it is ready to go. So I haven't done the post yet, so that's saved me. I'll get it out there probably tomorrow. Sorry, but someone called Lachlan Galvin decided to hog all the headlines basically the last 24 hours and all my posts that I had ready to go. And I don't want to squash everything in because I've been told some of our posts are getting lost because we've got too many. We've got too much content coming out. Some people are missing it. So I'm trying to... Oh, mate. If you want extra content, go to the Legends group. There's a time for it. There's always a time to plug it. $2.99 per month. Facebook Legends group. Supercoach, NRL, everything that you want, get in there. Discounts on LOI merch and double entries into all of our giveaways as well. So Trav has Ponga 1.3 mil, Jesse Ramian 600K, Stephen Crichton 850K, and Isaiah Katoa 700K. He currently has 8.1 million left in his salary cap. Trav, who are you signing at hooker and how much?
So I really wanted to get Grant, but I don't want to pay 850 at least. I really want I really want Robson, but he's just literally word is that he's just signed for 3 mil over 4 years. So that's 750K, and I don't want to pay 750K for my hooker. I am a massive, massive fan of the Psychopath, and really wanted to put him into the hooker role. And so because I really want him to come into my hooker role, I want now I did try to do some research on this guy. I cannot find anywhere how much he is currently on. So I'm going to just go by what I think he might get paid in the hooker position. And I'm going to say, let's see if you'll give me him for 500.
Max Plath 500?
Yeah.
You're kidding? You're telling him he's dreaming.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, go on. He's
playing Origin this year.
Well, hang on. Will he, though? I don't think so. Plus, he's only in his second year.
Oh.
He's only played 1 year last year.
Yeah,
What do we think,
so's
comments?
Lachlan Galvin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
850.
Yeah. Well, there's a whole different player between Galvin and Plath.
Yeah. Yeah, James, I'm probably leaning with you there. 550, I'd probably be happy for. Jake?
I can live with 550. I actually think he's worth 600. And as we know, and we've been told this by Trav, he actually has a little range. He has a little range that he's happy to accept on his players, and he likes to.
You can't hold me for what I've told you and how I've prepped for this.
No, actually, what you're doing is
hang on.
What you're doing is
comment alert.
What you're doing,
new comment. 600K is yes.
What you're doing, Trav, is a perfectly viable thing to do in managing your budget, right? I fully understand that. At the same time, I think Max Plath is worth 600K. That's what I believe that he's at. But you know,
yeah. Sorry, Trav. There's too many 600Ks.
I'll take 500. I'll take 550.
600 is coming pretty late.
600
too many. 600K.
What?
600K is a fair amount.
You both just said yes to 550. James
I never said yes to 550.
Yes, you
I never
did.
Jake didn't.
I did not.
You said, I would like to have had 600, but, 550, I'll go with that. That's what you said. If you'd like to go back and listen, go back and listen.
All right, well,
after that.
I'm reneging.
I said 500. They've gone 600. I'll go middle ground and take 550.
I reckon he's worth 600 in the sense that he's a very versatile player. He can play hooker. He can play hooker role.
I'm sorry, but we've got a few. Hang on. We've got a few new comments coming, guys. I haven't seen much of around, and I've got to stick with him now. There's 600. Sorry, Trav, but it's got to be 600. But I've got to reward these viewers who are coming in, showing what they love. 600, mate. It's got to be 6.
Oh, I can't wait for yours because I'm going to push your ass up.
You're going to what?
Oh, man, I'm going to make that. I am going to make you pay.
I'll let you go 575. I'll meet you then. 550 to 600. Let you go.
I said 500. They're saying 600. I want the middle ground of 550.
I'll go 575.
Yeah, I'll have it for 575.
I can live with that.
What was your bracket? Tell everyone your bracket now.
700.
Oh, yeah, of course it was. Yeah, I see how it is.
It's written.
Oh, he's got a bargain. He's done it again. All right.
He's sneaky. He's very sneaky.
Mate, it's called research. I've done it.
You just said you couldn't find what he was worth.
Yeah, so I did my research.
He said I couldn't find what he was worth anywhere I looked, so I made up a number.
That's dirty. Oh, 600. You're kidding.
I will take it.
Okay.
No, fair enough.
Jamboree, for me, the Jamboree Jelly Restless. I've got Turbo 1.3, Purdue 250K, Eero 550K, and Moses 1.4 million. My hooker.
The Jamboree medical ward, isn't it?
For me, I am signing Jacob Little. 80-minute hooker.
I knew you were going to go there.
Not playing 80 minutes at the moment. I reckon I can get him over, get him for a bit of a steal. I'm going 400K.
Oh, hell no.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so, mate. Yeah, because he's not playing 80 right now. He's been a hooker in the NRL for a while, and he was playing 80 when he was at the Tigers.
Oh, yeah, he wasn't on nothing at the Tigers. It was a week. He's on nothing.
Yeah, because
he'd be on 300 max.
Yeah, because he was exactly right. That was
Anthony,
2 years ago
400K,
now.
Thank you.
I'm telling you now.
800. You're kidding yourself.
I wouldn't go that far. What'd you say?
800. He said 400. 400 is redonkulously cheap. If you wanted me to pay that much for Plath, who's only been in the game for a season and 6 games,
I reckon Little's just as good as Plath.
If given the role, like have a look at what he did last year, Joel. Hang on, we go back and listen to all the podcasts where you spoke about how bloody good he is. Not to mention after round 1, when he came, hang on, what did he do in round 1 when he came on in the second half and flipped that game? And you said, "No, he's too bloody good to be sitting on the bench. This is not this is an 80-minute player." Blah 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 blah. So yeah, so you need to at least be 550. I would be 550.
I'm okay with 550.
450.
No,
450.
no.
650 for Little is fair. Right? Good.
There you go,
550.
James. I reckon 550 is reasonable.
And you got
I'm willing
Leon
to say-
sitting there at 600 too.
I reckon 550 is reasonable. You've got a few people saying 650 and 600 and stuff. We're saying 550 is fair.
Rob Mack is 550 to 600.
You know what, Trav? Maybe we shouldn't say 550 is fair. Maybe we should bump it up.
No, you already said it.
Hang on a second. You're ignoring what I said about you.
No, you've both already said 550. I will go in for
You're going
500
for 550.
500
you-
flat.
You're not
I
getting
said
for
400.
No,
You said 550. So I'll meet you just over your middle, and I'll go your 5. I think that's fair.
You're
He's
still
playing on the bench. Give
at
him an
the moment
opportunity.
for the Dragons.
Yeah, but I don't believe he's a bench player, and I think he's worth over 550. I think he's an 80-minute hooker. He's just not getting put in that
Because
position.
You know
David
what,
Cook
Jake?
there.
I don't care what you think because you're not our coach. You are not the Jamboree Jelly Wrestling coach. I don't care what you do. I don't want you in my team or my club.
If you don't want success, you don't have me as your coach. Then that's fine.
So
Good.
if you know. So actually, I have Little written down on my list because I thought maybe this was one that I'd like to try and steal out, and I had 500 to 650. I would have paid. I would have bargained through that. I think 550 is really fair.
550 is fair.
All right,
I
lock
really
him
do
in.
think it's
550K. I'll have the post out in the next 24 hours, guys. So
With the logos.
I know you're all waiting to see the logos, things like that. See the update, see all the numbers and that for yourselves. I'll have it out there. I promise. I might even do this week as just a temptation to go over and please help join the Legends. I might do a Legends exclusive one and put it straight into that one, and you can go check it out there. Wow, I can't believe I had to pay an extra 150K on what I want for a guy that's sitting on the bench behind Damien Cook.
You
Oh,
100%. What you 100% did not have 400 down as your max. You knew what you were going to pay for it.
I don't do what you two do. I just do it on the spur of the moment. I'm here for the content.
Then get the logos out.
I don't have a higher or lower. I have like a set price that I want him for, and then go from there.
No boats. I am not part of the Melbourne Storm crew. But anyway, moving on. Let's go to the questions to round out.
The Para cheated. Jared Hayne just settled that. But do we want to? Do you want to talk about that? Seeing as you're going to call out the Storm.
I appreciate you getting so involved with this. Actually, you message the page if you're coming up to Magic Round. You can come and catch up and have a chat with us at our Magic Round event on the Saturday. So make sure you message the page. Let us know you've digging this segment. Maybe I can sit down with you and you can help me sort out a few more of my players in my team. Alrighty, let's go to the questions. I will attack the ones on social media.
Told us what we're doing next week.
Oh, yep. Okay, let's go positions for next week. I'm in two minds. Do we lock in the spine, so our 6, or do we go another double and do we do our second row forwards?
I reckon you lock in the spine because then we know what we're playing around with after that. Like we know who we got then to work around. What do you reckon?
Yep.
We don't.
All right,
because then you can pick your forwards off who you got in here.
Ask the crew.
Crew, 5'8", or second row. Let us know in the comments what you want to see next week. You've got a whole week to build into it. So second row will be 2 players, or do we round out our spine and play with the 5'8"s? Wow, I've just realized how much money I've got in my spine so far. Goodness me. Anyway. Oh, it's not good. 5'8", yeah. Rob's on fire at the moment. I'll just lock in what Rob says. 5. We'll do the. No, James, was that the question? No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I didn't go give the options of 5'8", second row forwards, and I didn't say front row forwards. I said 2. And you've given James, you're at Magic Round, I think. You know what? Drinks first round's on you, brother, for that. Absolutely disgraceful. Anyway, 5'8" won it. Thanks, guys. Let's go the questions. Here we go. So from Instagram, Samantha, I hope you're still here. I think she is. She loves this segment. Yes, she is. You want the double? Sorry, but 5'8" won. Manly's loss to the Sharks, albeit without 4 of their starters. 4 starters are Turbo, Croker, Paseka, and Saab. Do you feel like this takes them out of being top 4 contenders? A lot of Manly supporters have been really negative. I took a lot of positives out of the game. Unlike last week's loss to the Storm, I didn't have them in my top 4, but a lot of people said it was possible. Jake, tell us, what do you think about Manly at the moment? Do you think the current couple of losses has taken them out of top 4 contenders?
They've fallen out of my top 4. I'd say they still sit in the top 8 range. They'll finish in the top 8 this year, barring any injuries. They have fallen out of my top 4 because I think they're just too rocks and diamonds. On their best form, they can sit in there, and you know what, they could probably beat the best of them. But then other than that, when they're having their worst games, they probably would be a below top 8 team. As for the game on the weekend, they did have those 4 players out, and you know what? If they had those 4 players in and firing, they'd probably win that game. It was that close. Like, it was a close game, and I reckon they could have won it. So, you know, yeah, they had people out. Is that an excuse? Not really. You've got a young gun fullback in there to take the place of Turbo. He did a good job. It wasn't him that let everyone down. It was other people that let you down.
Yeah. Trav, do you think Manly are no longer top 4 contenders?
I never had them as a top 4 contender myself, but I did have them around that 5th, 6th spot. I thought they'd be thereabouts. I still think they're 5th, 6th. Like, to be fair, like, what are they on? 6 points with 3 wins, and Broncos are on 8 points with 4 wins in 3rd. So they're only 1 game away. I'm not too fussed by where that's sitting and how that's going. I wouldn't look at what happened with the Storm last week or the week before and how we flogged them, because then we went and flogged the Warriors. And we've done that a few times. I'm not sure the Storm's a true indication of where your team's going to be at, because we're going to beat teams more often than not like that. So I wouldn't judge that against them. I really like their list. I actually really like the coaching. I think Seibold's done a really good job with them. I think he's managed a few of that and a few headaches and nightmares around it. I don't think the DC is going to be a distraction. And if anything, DC is sitting there sending a box of chocolates and a whole heap of other stuff to Galvin and his management for saying, thanks for taking the light off me. I think that's going to change a whole heap. I really like what the Seagulls are doing. I'm not too worried about what happened on the weekend.
I'll give you my views in one sec. Just quickly, if you are being serious here, James, you didn't get the cooler that you. I swear I sent it out a few weeks ago. I don't know if there was an issue in the post or not. I will look back in the stickers note that I do keep. If there's anyone else out there, I think there's one other. Message the page, let me know, and I will organise something. Whether it's maybe I'll just bring a few to Magic Round as well. If these guys are coming to the event, I'll give them to you then to save risking the post. It seems like there might have been a couple of issues there, but if this is legit, message me, please, and I'll organise the replacements to come out to you as well. For mine, I was huge on Manly. I was absolutely huge on Manly. It's not necessarily the injuries. Like, I know Turbo is a massive loss for them. I think they're in the best position they've ever been in to replace Turbo, though, and have a stopgap solution while Turbo is out in Lehigh Hopewadi. Have said that a number of times now. I'm just more so, and I know Sam will hate me for saying this. I know she doesn't agree, but I'm getting more and more firm on this. This whole DCE drama, I just feel like has knocked the playing group around a bit, and I think it will just get worse as we go into the season. And it's just more so the approach, the fact that he didn't tell all the playing group before it all happened, and he went live on air about it, and the fact that we saw when Jake spoke about it in that interview, how devastated he was, and how he basically came out and flatly said he would never do that and never go on like that. So I just feel like it's hurt the playing group. I feel like there's a lot of players there that it's hurt, and they just don't really, I don't know. It just feels like that's the destabilizing part here. And he's the captain of the club. That's what makes this whole thing. And we said it when we spoke about it, just completely crazy. He's the captain of the club, and he went about it the way he did. I just think that's the part where for mine it went. I'm not saying they won't make the 8. Turbo comes back. DC is still not playing bad football. I'm not saying he's playing bad. He hasn't switched off. He's still trying his hardest. I think they can make the 8. I just don't think they can be a full-on contender anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, interesting. I think after that they went and won. I mean, I granted the competition after DCE's comments wasn't overly great. But they still came out and won. They got flogged by Melbourne, as I said to you, is going to happen. They only lost by a try to the Sharks in Perth with all those injuries. I don't think this is dire straits at all. I don't think there's too many concerns. I think there's a big game this week against the Dragons. They've got form. Like, I know that they lost the Parrot 2 weeks ago, but geez, they played well last weekend. They're a form team and can beat anyone at any time, really. So this will be a big game for them. This week might change my mind on Manly. If Manly win this and win it quite comfortably, I think I'm going to easily just come out and say that they're still a contender, 5th or 6th spot. I don't think they'll be top 4, but yeah, definitely be somewhere abouts.
All righty. Now, Shannon McIntyre, Facebook, with the NRL looking to drop big money on a Super League stake, is this a smart move for global growth or a sign the league's losing focus while the on-field product here at home is full of blowouts, inconsistent officiating, and bunker roulette? Shouldn't we fix our own backyard before buying someone else's? Wow. I'm actually a huge fan of what they're doing here. They're not going all in terms of buying the whole thing. They're buying, I believe, a 33% stake, and they want basically complete control over the admin side of the Super League, which I think is brilliant. And I think there's a way moving forward where this can actually really help the game on an international level moving forward, which I think the Super League, and I've spoken to a couple of the ex-players over there and some fans and that, has slowly been dying for a long time now. And it needs to get back into a way to rejuvenate it. And I think the NRL, with what they're doing, like, make no mistake about it, Peter V'landys, when he sets his mind to things, is a brilliant, brilliant operator, one of the best in the country. And I believe he can probably help Super League achieve something. It's always going to be an uphill battle. They're up against the Premier League. That's a massive, gigantic monster in itself. And they've got the passionate fans there. They just need to find a way to break into a bit more of a market. So I'm not against it. I don't think it will impact the blowouts and stuff that's happening, the officiating. I don't think that has much of an impact on what's happening here, because it'll be probably completely different people that are in charge of the Super League side of this. It's an investment. The NRL has been doing great things with their investments since this lot have taken over. It's helped grow the game. It's helped the profits really jump sky high, really. So I'm not against this at all. I'm actually all for it. Who wants it next, Jake?
Oh, I don't have heaps to say on this one, to be honest. First of all, I'll say I love the question. I think it's a great question. It's something we should talk about. The way I sort of see it, I suppose, is I think it's a good idea, but I think the NRL does need to work on making sure that their product here is tip-top, because at the moment, all I'm hearing from everyone is just complaints with referees, complaints with the way that the contract system, all the stuff we've talked about tonight, basically, and a bunch of other stuff. Like, there's just a lot of fans complaining about the state of the game and the way it is. I understand that it's the most sort of profitable that it's ever been. But I kind of am of the opinion that we need to get ourselves to a point where all the fans are going, yeah, we're loving watching the game. We're loving being a part of NRL right now. We're being a part of this, before we go on and then try to take something and put it on the image of what we're currently working off.
Yeah. Trav, you want to add this one?
I couldn't agree with Jake anymore, man. I think there's that. The only thing is I'm actually on the step of, I don't think the NRL should have bought it, to be fair. I think it's a waste of money for them. I think there's too much to happen that we need to fix here. That money could be spent, or better well spent, to do that. So yeah, I don't like I think it's a loss, a wasted investment on the NRL to go there and do that. I get the idea that we go there, we develop the world game, we do all those sorts of things. Or V'landys wants to grow the game. V'landys wants to go and improve the club, improve that competition. Well, if that's what he wants to do, then go and be the CEO and leave the NRL and bring someone else in. Like, go and do that over there. If that's what he wants to do. I just don't understand how someone like him, who has to manage, someone like him who is now having to manage 2 competitions. There's tens of thousands of people that he's going to have to try and figure out. Obviously, he's going to have people that he disperses to manage it all and do all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I just don't think he won't be able to put a full focus on the NRL. So I think he's got to go. I think if that's what he wants to do and he wants to grow and improve,
he manages 2 organisations.
Yeah.
He's got Racing New South Wales.
Yeah. now he's going to go and do that. I couldn't disagree. I think if he wants to do that and they want to grow that, then he can just go there and be that. Leave the NRL. There'll be someone else. The NRL will still keep going.
I like bigger picture. I don't mind it. Bigger picture. I don't mind it. There is the traditional Jess question. It is around the Spencer and Thurston issue though, and I think I have read it just then as Trav was talking, and I feel like we did cover this mostly already. So I don't know. Trav, you would have probably read this one as well. Do you feel like we have answered this already, or you want to go into it?
I think the end of it it's probably where we haven't answered. I think we answered most of it. What we didn't answer is probably that last point, which was what kind of precedent does this set for professionalism, respect within the sport? Yeah. We probably haven't touched on. We certainly did talk around the engagement or the players and commentators unwilling to engage with one another. I think that's definitely starting to happen. It's happening even more. I think that on the weekend, Lenu sort of pulled that up. I think the coaches and all that and all this conversation around not being able to talk about refs and being genuine in those conversations that we spoke about, I think is starting to happen more and more. What kind of precedent does this part set for professionalism and respect within the sport? There's a really big disparity between the respect for media and the community, isn't there? Right. And we even get it ourselves. When, Joel, you put a post out that says an opinion and someone comes in and says the only thing worse about this is how pathetic the page is, kind of thing. Like you get those sorts of comments and all that sort of garbage, right? So there's this big disconnect around respect and professionalism between even us, who is, talking within what we do. The amount of comments and things that people say about the media entirely, I think there is a massive disconnect between place. G'day, Diggs. You haven't been here, mate. Welcome back. Welcome to the show. He's always in. He's always go on.
Give us a question, Diggs, before we go. Give us we'll dedicate one question to you. Get it into the comments, and we'll answer it before we go. Just for a shout out to you because you're a big fan.
What I hope though is that the precedent comes through that Jess is trying to talk about here is that I hope players don't start turning around and saying, no, I don't want to talk to you because you had a bad opinion of me, or I don't want to do this because you said this in an opinion piece or whatever, when the media are just doing their job to get paid, because that's at the moment, this is what Australia sports fans want, right? We love the negative stories. We love talking. That's what we froth on it. I don't particularly, but that's what we talk about, it's about content, and content isn't generally negative. So what I hope is that players don't start doing that. But the other side of it too is what I hope is that the media don't get that arrogance and that ballsy move that like Thurston's had of, I'm just going to go and talk to people. I'm just going to go do, like, I just think that was another side of it too that I didn't like either. So I think this has set a precedent, and I hope this gets stood on really quickly, because I don't like that.
Diggs, it doesn't matter what we're talking about. Whatever you want to hear our thoughts on very quickly, just let us know. It doesn't even have to be NRL related. It doesn't have to be sport related. Just whatever you want. To be honest with you, Jake brought up Katy Perry to start the show. That's where this show has been. It's been from Katy Perry out of space, Lachlan Galvin. It's been the Spencer and JT in the change room. We've been everywhere, man. We have been everywhere. So whatever you want, we will give you. And it's also featured selecting Riley Smith as his hooker.
And Joel trying to rot the cat.
And I'll put my Storm hat on, so it's all good. I get what you're saying 100%, Trav, and I think there's got to be, the fact that these days as well, the podcast era and stuff, everyone's got something to say every day. And I think it's just got to find a way to have that mutual sort of agreement. Like you said, like for all I can speak about here is from my own personal point of view, and putting posts up. Some I know that will be controversial, my opinion, copying a backlash. And I do that because I'm fully aware that this is the space I've entered myself into. I didn't need to do this 4 years ago when I started it. I did it because I love the game. I love hearing people's opinions on it. Might not always agree with people's opinions. They might not always agree with me. I've never once gone ahead and called people some of the names that I've been called having this page. I regularly get called to F up and F off, things like that. You got no idea, you're a spud, all this sort of stuff, like similar to what Spencer said to JT. I get it weekly, and it just comes with the territory. I've learnt now to majority of the time laugh off if I'm having a bad day. Sometimes I get a bit shitty at it or something, but most of the time doesn't affect me. It just got to the point where it is what it is. There's people out there that's what they're like. I'm not. I don't need to let most people I know aren't like that. That's why I'm friends with them and know them on that level, and I'm comfortable with that. I run the page. I cop it. I understand where I'm at, and it's more so I think about it as it's up to them. It's them to basically their lives and what they're upset with. But from a player's point of view, like for instance, then I can just say is Ezra Mann, for instance, coming back into the game shortly, he would be fully aware he's about to cop an absolute hammering for the rest of the season because of what he's done. He didn't want to cop any of that. Don't do what you've done. That's sort of like Spencer, he isn't annoyed about the fact that JT had to go at him earlier. Like he's probably fully aware that would happen. Everyone did. We had our opinions on the matter. Everyone's had opinions. He was more so a bit pissed off that JT didn't say what he said. But anyway, yes. Have you ever bit hard, Joel? Well, I've got a bit of a funny story for you guys. I once had Hastings reach out to the page and not like the fact that I said Ponga was carrying their team into the finals. I think it was 2 years ago, and he thought I was being very disrespectful to him and Gamble, which that was very pleasant. I tried to be as polite as I could, but yeah, that was a fun one. Had a couple of times where people just literally go off. Trav sees a fair few of the messages now. It's pretty good. It's most of the time. It's more so the comments, and most of the time people tell me block them, can't, like whatever, do something to them. I just can't be bothered. I just go, you know what, whatever. Give them some of their 2 seconds of fame, but whatever. It is them. Samantha, Luai and Taruva's Instagram story.
I was gonna say something about this. Did you hear about this?
I know Luai put something up about having a team and fisting that up with a team or something. I haven't seen Taruva's yet.
Taruva's one came out. I saw the article got updated. It was about 8 o'clock today, where basically he put up a post, and it was meant to be to his it was on Instagram, but it was only meant to be to his close friends, and somehow it's been leaked. And it's him with a photo of Galvin's bag, and then not bag, his locker, and then in the background he's got the song.
Is that legit? I saw that.
Money.
Yeah, is that legit though? Did he actually do that? Because that's pathetic.
It's personal.
Well, that's what he did.
Did he really?
I've got the article. I was just looking at the article.
Send it to the chat. Send it to the chat. We'll check it out.
Because Luai's one was and then the bitch don't kill my vibe song. Which I thought was hilarious.
Dig, send it to the page, please. Perfect. Thanks, brother. I'm keen to look at that. So yeah, for the night, we did ask you to send a thing. Trav went into big, deep details about the Knights. I might restrict Trav from answering this because we'll be here for another 20 minutes because he was fired up and we finally calmed him down. We had to get him part at a time to the chair for a while there because he almost said he knew the Incredible Hulk. He basically said Adam O'Brien can't coach. He's sacked. It's all about Ponga, which is correct. And the other players here to shape up. Where are their forwards? They're non-existent. And that was pretty much thoughts on the Knights. What are the thoughts on the Tigers players? Dirty vibes. Yeah, they're obviously dirty, probably rightly so. They don't want to play with Galvin. Again, rightly so. But yeah, it is what it is. All right, that is it, guys. We've got to sign off. We've been here for a long, long time. Promised to be a huge episode, and it was. Thank you to everyone watching the numbers and the views. You've all basically stayed around the whole time, which I really do appreciate. And so the boys love this community, love everything about it. Stay respectful, I think, on that note. But at the same time, have your opinions. Keep having those opinions on the page. The more you comment, share, things like that, helps the page grow. It's been quick shout out on that, actually. We have just crossed over 6,000 followers on Instagram and 21,000 followers on Facebook, literally over the last day. So crazy times. It is growing ridiculously. And again, thank you to those that do abuse the crap out of me because you're helping to achieve that. So thank you. Good night to everyone. Good night, Jake. Good night, Trav. And good night to those in the comments. Love you all. Magic Round is only getting closer. Cannot wait.